we should be live. Music down, and Sunday stream has begun. Third one's a charm. Who's it gonna be? The ultimate question. Drop the likes and you can be first, second, third, fourth, whatever, one of them. They all count. They all matter. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody this fine? When did you get back, Eric, when did you get back from South Carolina? Friday. It was a very quick trip. I went Wednesday, event was Thursday, and I came home Friday. Then I slept basically all of Friday because I got no sleep in South Carolina or leading up to South Carolina. And I'm home. Yesterday I spent in the Blackthorn studio painting and caulking. I can never, nothing is ever done in that space. Hopefully we are done this week, but yeah, spent a bunch of time yesterday doing a bunch of stuff I didn't expect to do. So, you know, as it goes. Oh, all right, top chat. Why do you always default to top chat? Just give me live chat. Nothing's ever done with Renos and dealing with that nice hot rod and the rest of my uncle's estate. Yeah. Nothing is ever done with any large project, it really feels like. But, you know, is what it is. Okay. So today we are going to be working on the VZBot once again. We're back in the VZBot project for the moment. And what we're going to be working on is the water cooling setup. I was originally intending to build the VZBot. Typing, sorry. I was originally planning to build the VZBot and then later upgrade it to water cooling. But since the move is occurring and I'm not going to be able to finish the VZBot before the move, and water cooled components arrived, I was like, you know what? Let's just water cool this thing, like right off the bat. Aaron, welcome in. Good morning. So yeah, just decided let's go ahead and water cool right off the bat. Happy Sunday, Muska. Welcome in. Just trying to look for. Wow. That seems too cheap to be true. Pretty sure I paid more than that. Well, it seems to be the right price. I'm not logged in. Sorry, I'm just grabbing some links so I can drop them in the chat, but I was just shopping for VZBot kit. Cool. There's a link in the description if you're interested in picking one up. Welcome in, TH. All right. Anyway. So I've got the components for a new Goliath here. I have a whole second Goliath basically now. Here's the thought. First of all, let me check the second camera angle. That is massively overexposed, but we're there. And the tail air. Hi. God, the color on that looks awful right now. What's the white balance at? Auto exposure mode. Yeah, no, I don't care about that. Custom. Oh, auto. That's why. White balance is way off. No, that's not good. Okay, let's go with that. Any thoughts on the Bondtech multi-tool thing? Index. Thoughts on Index? It looks really awesome. Can't wait to build one. Don't have any current plans as to what's going to happen if and when I build one. I assume I'll be building one. I don't know. Honestly, no. I don't have many thoughts beyond that. That's just kind of the reality of it. Is want to build one, hope to build one. I'll be seeing it next month when I'm in Sweden. So I'm 99% sure I've said that on stream, but I'll say it again. Next month in May, I will be traveling to Sweden, and I will be going to the Bondtech headquarters. So I will be seeing Index firsthand, talking to the engineers working on it, all that. So I will be in Sweden next month to check out Index. I'm there for their grand opening of the new Bondtech headquarters, but that's a secondary knock-on effect is I'll get to check out Index. Latest updates on where the studio is going in a new place. I wish I had some. Don't know right now. So I've found a couple of great locations for the new studio. I found a handful of new great locations for the studio. It's justifying the expense. That's the current problem. Gigantic, welcome in. How you doing? I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Run down, but you know, that's life. I assume the alley link for the VZBot kit is pre-tariffed. Looks like it ships from China. No. AliExpress links, to my knowledge, are pre-tariff, not pre-tariffed. So whatever you buy on AliExpress right now, expect to pay 124%. How does that work? God, this stuff makes no sense. I'm going to be placing a couple of AliExpress orders probably today, so I can experience what it's like today in the current climate to get things and pay tariff. I have no idea. Yeah, as far as I know, you have to pay to get it out of customs jail. 145% now, I think. Yes, but is it 145%? So if you order, the price is without tariff. Yeah. Last I heard, customs aren't even charging tariffs yet. Yes, but they're struggling. Everybody's struggling with this stuff. That's the maddening thing about it is this was clearly so poorly planned. Just so bad. I'm going to order some stuff off AliExpress today, see what happens. Don't know. The fun part is the past week it's been a mishmash. No one been collecting because of lack of solid guidance. Understandable. Advantage to Canada right now, and Mexico, and everybody else. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, I don't have any good answers on tariff stuff right now. I wish I did. I will be looking into stuff, but Watercool, stepper drivers. I want to pull up the thing that I'm looking to order for the VZBot. Good time to have Canadian friends. Yeah, I'm not too far from Canada. America used tariff on itself in confusion. 5160 Watercooling. I know there's what I'm looking for exists. Oh wait, no, that is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking at the only component for water cooling that I don't currently have for this build. The only stuff I can make it to Portland in 10 hours. Good to know. The only stuff I don't have right now for water cooling my VZBot build is this, the water block for the stepper drivers. So I need the water block for the stepper drivers, and I need the a radiator and a pump and reservoir maybe. But so I got to order one of these yet today. That'll be happening yet today. But why are you water cooling a 3D printer? Also, good morning, Fuzzy Tomato Head. Welcome in. Why am I going to water cool a 3D printer? Cause. Okay, so there's a handful of reasons for this. Getting wild with stepper drivers, yeah. I wonder how much they're spending on human resources to police and collect all the tariffs. Oh, we don't think about those things. Don't bring that up. Are you going to run painted coolant? Don't know. Probably. Cause I don't know why I asked. Fans suck. Okay, so no, realistically, the reason is as Mitch L said there, because VZBot go fast. So what's going to be water cooled in this build is the hot end, the extruder, the stepper motors, all 4 stepper motors, and the stepper drivers. So the idea here is you can run your stepper motors at peak amperage and keep them still functional. Your stepper drivers are going to get the cooling they need to feed those stepper motors. And then the hot end, you're actually going to reduce the overall length. With the Goliath, let me see if I can show it quick. Let's try and pull it up. With the Goliath, you actually lose, it's the Goliath short. There's 2 versions of Goliath. VZBot Goliath water cooled. That's not what I want, but let's pull it up anyway. So with the VZBot, like right now, that's the wrong camera. Right now, this is what my VZBot Goliath looks like. So it's a long hot end with the heatsink on there for air cooling, and that's that. And this is the VZBot long version. Obviously, it's not a short hot end by any means. Oh, this is Alibaba. Why am I on Alibaba? Let me find... Shrimp Father, welcome in. Projects in Dad's Garage, welcome, welcome, welcome. Can I find the short version images? There's also, well, there's another version. There's also a water block. So you can get this water block that replaces the heatsink. That's not what we're doing, but you can get that where you can get a water block that replaces the heatsink on the Goliath. So you can do that. That's not what we're doing. I can't find any pictures of short version. Nope, nope, nope. Well, okay. You'll see it by the end of stream. So what we're doing is we're getting rid of that heatsink entirely. So let me show you quick. We're going to be getting rid of that heatsink entirely. And I will show you what replaces the heatsink. Get out of the bag. Thank you, Simon, for sending this over. Tail air. You following me right now? No. Console. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so this is what's going to replace the current extruder on the VZBot build. So this is let me see this will stay focused. This is a VZ Hextrudort. It's the VZ Hextrudort Plus. So this is the one that has a larger gear set in it. There's a VZBot Hextrudort and then Hextrudort Plus. The Plus has a larger gear drive on the hob gears to feed the filament. Now, obviously, this is the water-cooled variant, which has a built-in water block for the extruder. So our water cooling is going to run through the extruder, where the heat break comes in to here. So our heat break goes into this and transfers heat to the extruder, but then this serves a double effect. This will, God, the focus. Let me see if I can call it. I'm going to turn off autofocus. Okay. So this will both water cool the motor, because this is an all aluminum extruder. Heat from the motor will transfer through to here. So it'll water cool the extruder itself and the extruder motor, and also then transfer heat from the hot end into this. So, good morning, Fabrico Joe. Welcome in. So yes, this will provide water cooling and for both the extruder and the hot end, which is what we're going to be putting together today. But try saying a Hextrudort 10 times fast. No. So the Goliath heatsink, the heatsink on the Goliath gets replaced with this. This is just a mounting flange for the Goliath now. And obviously the heat break is already in here too. There's a heat break. So it has a shorter heat break, and then this. So this totally eliminates the Z height of the heatsink for the Goliath hot end. So we're going to gain quite a bit of Z build volume by switching to this. I'm going to gain Z axis build volume, one, and then I'm also going to water cool the hot end, which, you know, As much as anything, I like the idea of reducing the weight. You're adding water, so how much are you reducing weight? Debatable. You get less heat sink material and less fan on the hot end. So when I'm trying to push this thing to the limits, water cooling might help it go a little bit harder. Who knows? When Steve was doing this, Watercooled Goliath hadn't released yet. Is it officially out now? Mr. Tiberium, I bought pieces. So what we're going to be working with, I don't know that it's been released necessarily. So what I'm doing to do this is I bought all the individual pieces for the Goliath, and I'm going to piece together one. So here's the Goliath heater block melt zone. So I got a Goliath heater block melt zone set up, a new sock for that. Simon VZ-3D sent me this extruder. So he sent me the water-cooled extruder. He also sent me the water-cooled short plate and heat break. He sent that as well. He also sent the proper heat break that I was missing from mine. Get the industrial cooler from LTT. Yeah, I think that might be overkill. He also sent the spacers. So basically, I'm building my own Goliath. I don't know that this version of water-cooled Goliath is available, like, publicly. Does that make sense? Also, when you're saying to the limit, are we saying pure PC or are we saying something more exotic? What do you mean pure PC? I don't understand what you mean by pure PC. Yeah, I don't know that the short version of Goliath is available in one piece. Not like a polycarbonate blend. No. This is not going to be... I don't intend this to be a, like, high temp, to the limit speed. Yeah, speed. The goal is pushing speed on this machine, not engineering high temp material machine. I have another build that's going to be an engineering high temp material build. So the goal here is we're building a water-cooled Goliath for the VZ-235. Millennium Machine Works, welcome in. We're building a water-cooled Goliath for this build. And the reason that I didn't just take the Goliath that's in mine out and water-cool it is that one is going to end up in my Mercury 1.1. So I don't think it's over there right now. No. I have a CNC toolhead for the Mercury 1.1, and I haven't really known what to do with it. I've decided I'm going to put a Goliath, air-cooled Goliath, in the Mercury 1.1 with the VZ toolhead, and probably even a Hextrude dort. I'm not sure. Probably a Hextrude dort. Might as well just go all VZBot on that thing. I don't know. We'll decide later on. That's a project down the road. Anyway, that's why I picked up the parts to build a whole nother Goliath, because then I have two of them, so I have one for that machine, one for this build. Okay, that's where we're at. How are you doing? How are things going? Things are going. Still looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to jump on as a sponsor of the new Mandic Lab 2.0, what nozzle are you going to use? In the VZ-235, I intend to run a 0.5 millimeter nozzle. I think I'm going to run a 0.5 millimeter CHT hardened, so the high wear resistance 0.5 millimeter CHT from Bondtech. I think that's what I'm going to run in this. I would run a Basel nozzle or something like that, but they don't exist right now. Basels aren't available. Basels haven't been available for like 2 years at this point. There's been like 1 or 2 drops in that time, and I missed them both times. So I would love to run a Basel. I'd love to try it, but they're just not available. So hope you and Ruby are okay. Thank you very much, Uncle Sabby. We're doing okay. So they were for a bit in February. See, I keep missing. There's like little tiny drops, and I keep missing them. Then gone instantly. That's the thing. Like they drop them like a few at a time, and then they're gone. And I don't have time to like set notifications and be on top of that. Yeah. I'm running an Undertaker in my 330. Maybe I'll try an Undertaker. I do find that high flow nozzles like a CHT are not a waste. They're not a waste. They're probably held a machine. I'm sure they are. I'm sure the yields are probably bad on them. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why Basel is constantly out of stock. It's just annoying, but it is what it is. So, error. New studio search, yeah. So, for anybody who's not familiar, if anybody hasn't heard, whatever. Where we're at right now, we signed a lease on a new house. So we're going to be moving into a new house on May 1st. We're moving into first week or two of May. We have a new house as of May 1st. I already got my internet appointment set up for May 1st. 2 gig fiber. Looking forward to that. So May 1st, we have a new place. I don't have a studio yet. It's a smaller house. It's a significantly smaller house than this place, which means it's cheaper. Yay. And I'll still have an office where I can film, but it's going to be, a little home bedroom office. So the garage is a 2-car garage, but it's like a 1.5 car, really. 2 small cars can fit in it. It does have a garage. It's just, the problem is, since I don't have a studio right now that I'm going to, everything that's in here is going to get crammed into a garage that's half the size of this. There is not going to be any room to film in there. Because without a studio to go to with all of my stuff has to go there for right now. So, 2-car that is really a 1-car working garage. Yeah, that's basically what it is. A 1-car garage, you can still move around the car pretty healthily. So, Unique Prints has some Basels for sale. All right, let me look. Is Unique Prints aren't they Australian? Yes, they're Australia. Oh. Okay, so I thought they were not here. How ridiculous would that price be? Holy crap! $127 Australian. What's USD on that? It's $80. Okay, that's about in line with what I'd expect. I'll keep my eyes out. If anybody sees Basels coming up for sale, hears that they're coming up for sale, let me know, please. So, right now I don't have a studio in the works. I have found multiple studios that would be excellent. I found one that would be amazing. Problem is paying for it. I can afford to, thank you to the support of everybody in the community, channel members here, Patreon patrons, the few smaller sponsorships that have signed up already. Thank you so much to everybody who has helped out. You really have relieved a lot of stress off of us and really helped us to get to a place where we can move forward and take our next steps. Thank you. I can afford to sign a lease on a new studio now. I can sign on a dotted line, I can put down a deposit, and I can move into a new space. The problem is paying for it month after month after that. And while the nature of sponsorships on YouTube, the way that I have worked to this point, is that every single month I hustle to try and get the next month's sponsorships. So every single month, it's another round of, hey, what are you trying to sell? Like, it's a continuous rat race running on the wheel every single month. And in this studio, that has worked okay. But it means that I never know what money I'm making next month in advance. At the beginning of every month, I don't know. I might know what I'm making this month on paper, which there's a whole nother side of that where companies delay things and then I don't get paid. Inside baseball for you, I think I'm fine to say this. The X400, the Airy One X400 video that I did not too long ago where I printed a bunch of big stuff for the house and that big X400 printer, that video was supposed to come out like 3 or 4 months before it did. That video was supposed to be out last year. And they delayed it multiple times saying, oh, hey, we have to push the Kickstarter back a little bit, so let's not worry about the video for right now. Well, that means that I signed a contract in, say, October. I signed a contract saying, I'm going to make a video about your machine for November. Well, then November comes and they say, no, we're going to do this next month. Oh, now we're going to do this next month. That means the money that I figured on for that project, I didn't make it for 4 or 5 months after I was supposed to make it. I can't be in that situation in the new studio, is the problem. So that's where I really need look down PCBWay for the studio. You need something like that. That is what I need. I need somebody who, like Joel has with PCBWay in his studio, I need somebody who will lock in for 6 months to a year on a contract where I will make, you know, I have a whole pitch that I've given to companies so far. Not one video a month, honestly, because I don't want it to be like every single month I'm doing a dedicated video to that company, because that's just going to make my content boring for you folks. So like, there needs to be a really thought out plan to it. And I have one. I just don't want to go in depth on it. That's what I'm looking for. I haven't had anybody sign up for it yet. I've had a couple of meetings, a couple of promising meetings, but nobody signed up yet. PCBWay, I've never worked with PCBWay. I've never done a video with PCBWay at this point. Shout out and a sign at the beginning of it. I'll give you some of the details of what they're getting. So the package that I've pitched to these companies so far is every single video, they get a shout out, like Joel does for PCBWay. So every single video at the beginning, no matter what the video is about, if it's sponsored by somebody else, it doesn't matter. They will get a little blurb of this, you know, Mandix Labs 2.0 brought to you by PCBWay or whoever. That is part of the package. They'll also get their name on the wall in the studio. So the new studio in my probably like this background right here, which is my primary set in this space. So say whatever sponsor it is would have their name like up here. And so every video, their name would be in. It's not that it would be like, this is sponsored by, but it would be like their name's there. You're always seeing it and connecting it with my content. You're able to figure out what I typed. RJ, legitimately, this entire plan I created off of Joel's PCBWay thing. So I have talked to Joel about it. I don't have any inside information on what Joel's deal is with PCBWay, but I did base the concept on the same thing of like, you know, he's got them sponsoring his studio and that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find somebody who'll sign on for that, or a couple somebodies, depending on how much everybody's willing to pay, you know, so that just so that I know that I have at least a baseline, because I don't have a salary. You know, my job, I don't have, I make so much per hour. I have no idea month to month how much money I'm going to make, ever. Week to week, day to day. I have no concept. It doesn't matter how I do the math. I can't know, because from one month to the next, I might make nothing. January of this year, I made maybe $500 for the entire month. Because I wasn't really working, because I was working in Blackthorn. But then, you know, this month with everybody joining up on Patreon and everything and helping out, I make a lot more. So like, Zombie has Polymaker as his sponsor. I've reached out to Polymaker. I've reached out to basically everybody. Not most. I've reached out to a lot of companies in the 3D printing sphere. It's also just a really, 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 really bad time for me to be doing this. I'm gonna fit that back. So, tariffs. Nobody has any idea what's going on right now. Nobody has any idea what their business is going to look like in 2 months. It's a really bad time to try to get a commitment from these companies for an extended period of time. I know that. I don't have any choice. That's it. I don't have any choice. Is, you know, move to Canada. That would be much easier said than done for us. Fuzzy Tomato Head, basically living paycheck to paycheck, but with sponsors. That's been my life for the last like 5 years. Yes. My life for like 5 years of running my business has been living paycheck to paycheck it's my life for the last 5 years has been living paycheck to paycheck and not knowing what that paycheck's going to look like. At least if you live paycheck to paycheck and your paycheck is the same every 2 weeks or week, you can figure on the money you should be bringing in. I don't even know that, So I'm not complaining. I love my job. It's just stressful. I'm just looking to remove a little modicum of stress so we can move on. Petty Ruxpin, gonna lurk for a bit. Awesome. Thank you for being here. So, yeah. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. I saw a cool image yesterday, showed Washington, Oregon, California as a new province of Canada called Baja Canada. I've seen that one before too. Neighbors up north, please. Please save us from whatever the heck is going on. So, the fact everything is crazy is why I haven't asked anybody to sponsor things yet. Hard to float on YouTube channel on your own though. Yeah. So stressful you're going bald. Thank you very much, Delta Studios. Yes. So, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea where we're going to be next month, the month after that. I don't know. I'm trying. I found studio spaces. The area we are moving to, where we got our new house, we specifically chose it because I'm finding all the best studio spaces that I'm finding are there. So we're hoping that it'll make sense for me to be there and to get my studio there. So does this make me a sponsor now? Thank you, Millennium Machine Works. You are all sponsors in my heart. So honestly, thank you, Millennium Machine Works. There is that factor too. Thank you for the super chat. So there is that factor. My Patreon, since I went public with all of this nonsense and was talking so much about how everything is awful and all of that, my Patreon has grown substantially. And thank you so much to everybody who has signed up or just shared out any of this stuff. If you can't support yourself, I totally understand that. Aaron, what area? Hillsboro. We're heading to Hillsboro next. I'll say that, whatever. Yeah, next we're going to be in Hillsboro. We don't want to be there, but that's where we're going to be. So my Patreon has grown substantially from this, like 5 times the members that it used to have. And I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. The thing about that is I can't count on that money either. I don't want that to be what I look at as the baseline income for each month, because Patreon can be a roller coaster. I thoroughly expect 50% of the people who signed up recently to help out to drop off in the next month or two, especially as I'm not able to produce much content in the next month or two. I expect a lot of those to leave. I'm not judging that or anything. I just legitimately think that a lot of those people probably signed up as a like, I'm helping out, I'm going to help this situation, but I'm probably not going to stick around long term thing. And that's the way I need to look at that for right now. So I don't want to go signing a lease on a studio based on that money, just for that money to go away a month later. I need written contracts with time spans. So that's where I'm at. Let's actually build some VZBot stuff. So that's your, oh, hey, autofocus is, I turned off autofocus and you're looking right up my nostrils. Hi. Okay. Console. Back. I want to turn off tracking. Tracking. Okay. So let's take a look at our components here. We've got standoffs. We've got a heater element for the Goliath. And evening, everybody. Welcome in, Scotty Dog. And we've got our extruder. Obviously, our extruder is going to go onto the machine, not so much onto this, but we'll get there. Aaron, cool. The price point's pretty good there. Yeah, we looked at it. It's part of it. Is our money goes a little further in Hillsborough than it does in other neighborhoods, so that is a factor to all of this. All right, these standoffs. There's only 2 standoffs? I thought there's 3 standoffs. I thought there should be 3 standoffs. Am I wrong? Is there not a 3rd standoff for the VZBot? Hot end? Goliath. No, there are. Oh, no. No? No, there are. Simon only sent me 2. Okay. Simon sent me parts, but he only sent me 2. Crap. I didn't order extras. Oh well. I guess we're only getting 2 standoffs on this Goliath. That's not ideal. What's everybody up to? What's up, everyone? Kitroll, welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm looking at this. There should be 3 standoffs here. I missed this set. So this set's the heater block, thermistor, sock, and standoffs. So it should be 3 standoffs. Simon only sent me 2. So, don't know what that's about. Whatever. We will make do. So, pull out this. This is our adapter plate. I actually have 2 of these. Simon sent me one, and then I'd already ordered one by the time Simon said he was going to send me one. So, oh, interesting. The production one and the one that Simon sent me are 2 different pieces. Let's see if we can see that. Let me get the camera to go. Morning, zombie hedgehog. That's the wrong way. I want this way. So here's what Simon sent me. So the one that Simon sent me has this lug in the middle of it, which makes a little more contact with the heat break. And then this is the one that Mellow is selling currently. I bought this off AliExpress, and it doesn't have that lug. So otherwise, they seem to be pretty much the same. Yeah, they're the same footprint. Look like they're the same thickness. Measure quick. Caliper. 3 mil thick. 3 mil thick. So, yeah. They're the same. But I guess I'll use the one, since this one has a little more, has that nub through the middle of it that'll support a little more, it looks like. I think I'm going to go with that one. So, it goes like that. Through there. So I've got my Goliath. Here's my water-cooled heat break. It's my Goliath heater, or hot end heater portion. So I'm going to tighten that into there. Where's my wrench? There's a wrench. Tighten that into there. All right. There is our Goliath plus heat break. I've been playing with PCCF. I know how slow it needed to be printed. And I know how slow it needs to be printed. I haven't printed PCCF in quite some time. I don't remember. The last time I would have printed PCCF would have been on a slow printer to begin with. So, okay. So now I need this adapter plate. I need to look real quick at the VZBot to see which way that orients. Yeah, okay. That faces forward. So that faces forward. Never knew. Got it. So this looks like it goes like that, I think. That seems too long. It must be this way. That doesn't really make sense. Oh, I see why. I see why. Okay. So this replaces our heatsink. Zombie Hedgehog, I still don't have a printer I can install a Goliath on. You have an Ender 5 Plus, don't you? Build a Mercury 1 out of it. And do a CNC toolhead. That's what I'm going to be doing with my second Goliath, is putting it on there. On my Mercury 1.1. Okay. So now I need hex for this. I thought you aren't going to water cool. Originally, that was the intention, that I was not going to water cool right away. I have since changed my mind. Basically, Jonathan, what happened is I changed my mind because I'm not going to be able to finish this build before the move. I have to move too soon. I'm not going to be able to finish this build before the move. So, kind of just stepping back and looking at it and like, okay, I really don't have time to be doing air-cooled, test it. What I wanted to do was build this air-cooled, test it thoroughly, then convert it to water-cooled and just like see the difference. I don't really have time for that at this point. With the new studio, like getting up and running and whatever and all that, I don't think I have time for it. So I'm not gonna. I think I'm gonna swap this heat break. This heat break is the one these heat breaks are, oh, that's not what I wanted. The heat breaks are slightly different. So this one is the one that Simon sent me. That is 3D. Simon sent me this one. This one is the one that I ordered from Mellow. This one has a slight bit more chamfer. The Mellow one has a slight bit more chamfer coming into it, just ever so slightly more. And the bore looks slightly bigger. Is the bore bigger? Do I have any filament here? I have a hex wrench. I have a 2mm hex wrench. That is 2mm. So it's supposed to be like 1.8. So, yeah. I think the bore looks ever so slightly bigger on. It could be because of a chamfer making it appear larger. I can't decide. You know what? I think I'll just stick with the one I already put in. Carrie, welcome in. I'll stick with the one Simon sent me. I'll stick with that. Okay. Need a little Loctite, even though blue Loctite on this is really probably not going to do anything. I'm going to put it on anyway. Standoff. So I'm putting one of these standoffs on here. Oh, wait. No, these standoffs need to go into the plate first. Okay. So standoffs need to go into this adapter plate first. You know what? I'm not going to be able to put this together with this like this. I need all three standoffs. I don't know why I didn't get them from Simon, whatever, but I need all three standoffs. All right, the threading on that doesn't feel great. So I'm gonna have to pull the old Goliath, the current Goliath, off my machine, the air-cooled one, to rob one of these standoffs out of it, because I don't have the third one for whatever reason. Is it in the bag? Did it fall out? No. 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 Nope, I just don't have the third one. Fuzzy Tomato Head, thank you very much for being here. Have a good one. All right. This in here. God, these are fiddly little things. Fiddly little things. A little bit. Keep trying to be over here, and then the camera's facing over here. All right, tighten that just a little bit. Make sure these aren't going anywhere. All right, now I gotta get the Goliath air-cooled version off of the machine right now, which is on the floor. I don't feel like pulling it up here to do that. So give me a second, sorry. Try and get it off of here quick. It's only 2 screws to remove, so it shouldn't be a big deal once I break them free. And I did Loctite them, so there's that. Oh, screw just dropped. Boop, 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 boop. Come on. Great. All right. Out this comes. There is the air-cooled Goliath. Kegel, welcome in. Hello. Okay. Air-cooled Goliath now. So, there's our air-cooled variant. And so what we're looking at is our water-cooled variant is going to be much more like this. Not quite, but like this in length. So you can see we're gaining quite a bit of Z-axis build volume by going water-cooled. So, but I need to rob one of these standoffs out of here. So I got to take this whole thing apart to rob them out of there. Unfortunately. Oh. Now I'm going to have to order more of these standoffs. So I will add that to my AliExpress order today. And hopefully I don't end up paying a tariff on $14 standoffs. But I probably will. My luck. I probably will. Okay. How does this... I also have the proper heat break for this now. If anybody doesn't remember, I didn't get a heat break in my kit. But Simon sent me the proper heat break for this build. So I do have that now. So, you know what? I'm going to pop that out of here right now. Good evening. Welcome in, Jobo. Come on. There's no wrench flats on this, so I'm just kind of like trying to grip it and get it to spin out of here. I need like a macro lens or something on a camera for things like this. Better close-up view. Okay, so old heat break out. I'll throw the new, it's a used heat break, but it's just one Simon sent me. Simon sent me? Is that like Simon Says? Something like that, right? That wrench is too big. Grip with these pliers and just give it a tighten. All right, so there is the Goliath for the air-cooled variant that I'm not currently going to use. That's going to end up in the Mercury 1.1. I need to rob one of these little standoffs out of here, since for whatever reason I only got 2. Got all 3 screws, but only 2 standoffs. Don't know why. Don't know why, but here we are. That is a lot of Loctite. Get in there. What made you decide to go straight to water cooling, Carrie? One, I got the parts in from Simon, so having the hot end components kind of just helped the process. 2, it's just that I'm not going to be able to finish this build before the move, so I'm kind of just like, you know what, let's just go all the way right away. If it's not going to get finished like this week, I might as well just go all out water cooled, and you know, we will finish it when we can in the new studio or new office, whichever ends up being the case. I don't know yet, but okay. So now all of my standoffs are on the water-cooled one. And you can see here, like this is the difference. Same mounting flange height, but this is now that much Z height gained off of this. Which how much Z height are we gaining? I mean, arguably we're gaining all of this heatsink. 15 millimeters we're going to be gaining. My advice for the CNC VZ toolhead is generally Loctite every single screw. I have been Loctiting every single screw on this build. So I agree with that. At such high speeds, we're going to be vibrating and shaking. So yeah. Anybody had any issues with the Nighthawk just stopping communicating? Which Nighthawk? Isn't that why the Nighthawk 36 was recalled? I haven't run a Nighthawk yet. I haven't had a chance. I was going to run a Nighthawk SB on my next 2.4 build, but now it sounds like I'm not going to do that version of the build, and it's probably going to end up with a Nighthawk 36, the SB one. Sorry, I don't have a good answer for you on that. I'm going to put this back on here just for now. Anybody have an answer for Daredockel? Have you had a problem with the SB version losing connectivity? Have one arriving this week. Yeah. I wonder if one of the Simon must have accidentally dropped one of these screws or something. I'm definitely missing a whole screw and standoff. Just whatever. I'll just order the standoffs. But I just realized the stream title says beings and not begins. We are contacting the water-cooled beings. Check the cable. Mine ended up fraying and had to be replaced. That's a good note. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the clocking of this now, so that I can get this kind of clocked how I really want and or need. So I can clock this any one of three ways in relation to where the cable exits. I think that looks like the best orientation to me, because then I can go forward with it and then up. Don't we need tinfoil hats for contacting water-cooled beings? Yes, we do. Okay, so next I'm going to dab a little bit of the Slice thermal compound. I'm going to commit a sin. I'm going to use Slice engineering thermal compound on a Goliath hot end. Oh no. Hopefully things don't fail as a result. Okay, I'm gonna use a little swabby doodad. I'm gonna put a little thermal compound up inside this heat break adapter plate to help heat transfer. It is a spaceport after all, you're right. All right, that, I'm gonna apply some to the outside of this. Great, and now I can put the two of these together. I'm gonna go that way. Yes, all right. Now, I'm just going to put one screw in just to get this started so it stays clocked. The sacrifice is for when you pressure test. Yes. I don't even have a pressure tester for water cooling. I just freaking run them and look for leaks. Should welcome our our visitors from Planet VZ. Welcome, visitors, VZ visitors. Okay. Now, a little spot of Loctite on this. Standoff screws, so I can get those in there. Loctite on those. Get into your homes. Oh, that doesn't want to start in there. I'm getting too... The LTT screwdriver is like just too fat. It gets a little bit of an angle in the screw. So I need to use a hex wrench to get a straight shot at it. There we go. There we go. All right, now I can take this third screw that I put in just to clock it out. Put some Loctite on that. I was a bit worried about those pneumatic fittings at first, as they're usually used with hardline. Yeah, I've seen them used with soft tubing enough that I don't think I'm worried about it. But we will find out in the long run if my VZBot pees itself. Okay. Get these good and tight. Guten tight. Get these guten tight. Great. Cool. All right, now I need this cable. Right now it's clocked. It'll be like into the belt path right now. I need it to head out this way. I'm gonna try and bend it by hand. A little bit. All right, that seems pretty good. All right, all right, all right. Just trying to form it kind of how I had this one formed here, so the cables will head the way I need them to head. This is like resistive wire, so it needs to stay engaged with this because this is the heater element for the Goliath, so. Why is my patented part soaking wet with printer piss? Questions we hope to never have to ask. All right. Now I've got a brand new silicone suck. Let me swap the nozzle real quick. Right now I've got a 0.4 CHT nozzle in it because I don't have any 0.5 CHT hardened. I have 0.5 CHT and non-hardened, like brass right now. And I think I'm just going to run a hardened one in this just because the speed that this machine is going to run, even a brass nozzle on non-wearing materials, I feel is going to wear fairly quickly. Speaking of which, while I'm here, let me put a little thermal compound on this too. Where'd I put it? Here it is. Put a little dab of thermal compound on the nozzle. All right. Ooh, I'm rounding off that nozzle. Good thing it's a frickin' CHT. I should have the right size wrench right here at hand, but I don't. Okay. For now, it's tightened. It'll get a hot tighten yet, but brand new boot. Is this the brand new one? Doesn't really matter. Neither one's been used yet, so it's not like either has been used yet. All right. There is. This wire needs to come out just a bit more. There we go. Get on there. Boop, boop. Why does it seem like you don't want to sit quite right? Oh, because you weren't quite right. That's why. You didn't want to sit quite right because you weren't quite right. All right. I'm trying to form this cable, this heater cartridge cable in the proper way. Okay, now I can put the thermistor in. Now, last stream, I broke a thermistor. Last stream, the PT1000 thermistor. Last stream, the PT1000 thermistor broke. So, I got a new one. Folks recommended that I get one from Triangle Lab, and I think that was the right call. Because what happened on my last one, I don't know where it is right now. I think I might have tossed it already. What happened on my last one is the wires right here at the thermistor, one of them pulled out. Now, the Triangle Lab one has strain relief. It actually has a strain reliever and less delicate wires. So that is what we're going with. So it's also a PT1000 with a 3mm thread on the end, but it's one that should actually work. So put a little dab of thermal compound into the bore of where this is going to go. And onto this thermistor. Zero reason not to have good thermal conductivity between our thermistor and our hot end. All right, that's in there. Zachary Taylor, I just Googled it, and tariffs that go on AliExpress start on May 2nd, so get your orders in. All right, link in the description if anybody wants to build a VZBot. Kit's there. As I said, I'm going to be ordering today, so I will get mine in. All right, now I've got my heater, my adapter plate on, my heat break in place, and my thermistor in there as well, now with strain relief. Yay. Cool. Now, this mates into here. So it mates into here, but it mounts this plate. The hot end mounts to the underside of the CNC carriage. The extruder mounts to the top of the CNC carriage and it sandwiches the two of them in between and uses that for heat transfer. So I've got to get that. I got to get that on. So, that said, that means I need to get this moving. All right, I'm going to get this other... I got two of these thermistors because I have another Goliath still. And the other Goliath is going to go on the Mercury 1.1, as I've said a couple times already. So I'm going to put these with the Mercury 1.1 so I don't lose track of them. Even though I'm sure I'll lose track of them during the move. That's not today. That's coming up. It's not today. All right. Put all this with that. Here's the Goliath we're going to be installing, but I need to get this out of the way. So I can get the machine up here. We can install the Goliath. Future Allen problem. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of future Allen problems coming up real soon. I'm going to clean this real quick. There's still thermal compound on the extruder that Simon sent me. Simon sent me. I keep wanting to say Simon says. Keep wanting to say Simon says. Marcel, welcome in. Oh yeah, I cleaned up. Little alcohol, clean that right off. Great. Cool. All right. There's that. I'm debating what thermal compound. Ping us local guys if you need a hand with anything. We're all willing to help. Thank you so much, Aaron. I have had a lot of input on folks saying they're locals who are willing to help. I appreciate it. And May, I don't know yet. So May takes folks up on that. We're looking at how much movers are going to cost because everybody's getting too old to be moving stuff. Hard part right now is the biggest problem I have right now. lab assistant checking in for assistance. What do you need me to do? I need moral support. Thank you for being a lab assistant. That's the support I need. The assistance I need. What was I going to say? Can toss that. Water blocks for the heat. For the motors are here. What was I thinking? Oh, moving my toolboxes is the biggest pain I have right now. Toolboxes and printers. I was looking at getting a trailer. Trailers are way too expensive here. Andrew Rogers for the Moral Support Fund. Thank you so much, Andrew, for the super chat. It is greatly appreciated. Yeah, I was looking at getting a trailer to move things. I control from afar if that helps. So appreciated. So appreciated, Dark Third Dimension. Error. Oh, hey, I have two things of thermal compound here. Yeah, moving the big stuff is my current concern. Like, trying to get the rat rig and the toolboxes into a moving truck ain't happening. I mean, the rat rig isn't that heavy. That could be moved into a truck, but it'll take up so much room, it doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. My rat rig IDEX is printing fast at the moment. Yeah. I have the fan for PLA cooling on the rat rig turned down pretty good because that thing is so freaking loud. Last time I moved my toolboxes, I had to take the loaded drawers out to do it. I think I'm probably going to hire a tow truck. The best way to move, like, because even you can take all the drawers you want out of a Matco toolbox. It's still a heavy beast. And I don't want to do it. So, Iconic Fab, welcome in. So, I'm going to, I'm probably going to hire, for the toolboxes, I'll probably get a flatbed truck, like tow truck to come out, you know, back it up, roll up the two big Matco boxes anyway, and move those that way. But new Patreon tier can be for people to pay to help you move. I mean, that's what all the tiers technically are for, but I get your thought. Put reins on the pets and have them ride the toolboxes. I don't particularly see that happening very well. U-Pack cost us about $5K for a full trailer, but that was a cross-country move. Yeah, we're hoping much, much less than that because we're not cross-country. We're only moving 30 minutes away, so... Brian, I move all my boxes, CNC, and all big equipment with a flatbed tow truck with a winch. Yes, that is the best way to do it. I used to sell tools. I moved a lot of toolboxes. Flatbed tow truck is the way to do it. But, we'll figure it out. I don't know. We shall see. Okay, it's time to get the VZ-Bot up here so we can get this extruder swapped and the hot end in. This thing is so freaking heavy. I wish I had a scale to weigh it. Are the toolboxes like the luggage in Discworld? No. No, I'm not going to get eaten by my toolboxes. Just crushed by them. Last time we used a 5-ton and a lift gate. That's a solid way to go. My my Matco truck that I had the lift gate, which was lovely, but I still preferred just having a mover or a tow truck do it. Okay, I gotta get this existing extruder off of here. Let me get this second camera angle a closer shot or a better shot. Better camera angle. Okay. This extruder's got to come off so we can get the new extruder in place. Come on. Break these free. Imagine moving yourself to save some money and then getting hurt so you can't work and make money. Exactly, the Rick. We're going to pay movers. We are definitely going to pay movers this time. Both Ruby and I are looking at like how much we're running ourselves into the ground, and we just can't do it. Like we're too damn old to be doing this, you know? Like, I think it's time to just not be silly about it and hire movers. All right. So, you know, I just realized that this extruder, this is not the plus extruder. This is the regular VZ extruder, not plus. The kit comes with a non-plus variant. And this has the smaller pancake stepper from LDO on it. We're not going to, I should note, we're not going to pay movers to like pack our stuff. We're going to pack ourselves, but we are going to pay movers to help us move. I mean, either way, we're renting a moving truck and, you know, going through all that. So we're kind of just looking at it like, well, if we're going to pay for a moving truck, we might as well pay for people to help us move the stuff. So, yeah. I wonder if I shouldn't have the bigger stepper is where I was headed with this. Simon didn't send me a stepper. He only sent me the extruder. I will think about that. Okay. So VZ Hextrudort versus the Hextrudort Water Plus. This is the Plus variant and also water cooled. So this has bigger extruder gears and the water cooling fittings to water cool with. That said, I need to apply thermal compound to the bottom side of this extruder so that it can thermal transfer heat better off of the heat sink, hot end, and the carriage into this extruder. Now here's a question for you. I usually, for all my printer stuff, I use Slice Engineering thermal compound. But I do that... Wow, why does that feel notchy? Why does that feel so notchy? It doesn't spin as smoothly as I would expect it to spin. It's like tick, 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 tick. Huh. How are things this week? Steve's 3D, they're going okay. We've been chatting about it throughout stream. We'll catch you up as we go. So far, so good. So I would usually use Slice Engineering thermal compound on pretty much everything hot end related for a build like this. Thing is, this how hot is the heatsink on a after the heat break, on top of the heat break? It shouldn't be nearly as hot, obviously, as the hot end. When there's no filament in the extruder, the gears don't mesh great. That's why the tick tick. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. That makes some sense. Shouldn't be hotter than 70 C8 for the most part. Right, because if you're getting much hotter than that, you're looking at like heat creep territory into your... So point being, I don't think I'm going to run Slice thermal compound on this. I need to thermal compound this. I think I'm going to use regular PC, like Cryonaut from Thermal Grizzly for this, so that I can thermal transfer a little better into this. So I have Cryonaut here. Where'd I put it? I know I have it here. Here's the slice stuff. Where'd I just put the Cryonaut? I had it here. I know I did. Pulled it out for this. Maybe in the next studio I'll figure out getting organized. There we go, Cryonaut. All right, maybe. Okay, Cryonaut, Thermal Grizzly. Jonathan Simpson, do you know a good 5015 fan? Because GDS time that comes with the LDO kit is very underwhelming, or is that normal for a stealth burner? Stealth burner is just not a great part cooling design. Single 5015 fan is just not a lot of air movement. Your GDS time is probably actually better than you think it is, as far as like overall CFM air output. There are better ones. Sunon makes one or two that are pretty good. The folks at West 3D have the Honey Badger one is one option from Fabrico. West 3D has their Vinder or whatever ones. There are ones that will push more air, but it's not much more. It's a little more. That's why a lot of folks change out tool heads. The stealth burner is designed. Stealth burner is designed for printing ABS and ASA, where 100% part cooling isn't necessary out of a stealth burner. So like if you're printing PLA or even PETG and you're just finding the part cooling's not that great, yeah, that's where you're gonna start running into problems. Yeah, Steven, exactly. Stealth burner is done for ABS where part cooling isn't as big of a deal. Amar honestly just put an aux fan on. If you're running a Voron 2.4, you can't put an aux fan on. There is at least one aux fan variant for the 2.4, but I've never run it and it kind of looks jank, and I really have no idea how the hell to wire the fans to it because your gantry is moving up and down. Your auxiliary fans can't be at a set height. They have to move with that. So they add weight to your gantry and it's like a whole thing. Okay. Now, apply a little thermal compound to the bottom of my extruder. That's a weird sentence. A weird sentence. Little thermal grizzly on the bottom of this thing to help heat transfer as best I can. Probably going way overkill with this, but you know what? I don't want heat creep. Contemplating doing CPAP already, but it's already multicolor tool head set up, and CPAP seems like a nightmare to put on top of that. Yeah. That's a reality. CPAP is also just so freaking loud, is the thing. Which this runs CPAP and auxiliary fans, but dang it, where did I just put those screws? Oh, there's the other one. All right, I gotta get the screws up into this for the extruder. The Hextrudort. I don't know, CPAP's just so loud. Drives me nuts. But so does the part cooling on the dual 5015s. I mean, you know, my 2.4, where is it? So my next two 2.4 builds. I have two 2.4 builds in the works. I have my original 2.4 that we haven't finished yet on stream. My original 2.4 is getting, anybody who hasn't seen, is getting this tool head. So this is the Reaper tool head, which runs dual 5015 part cooling fans. So that machine is getting this one with dual 5015 part cooling fans, the Wristwatch G2 extruder. Marcel, thank you for stopping by. Have a good one. So it's getting this one. It looks like a face mask. Yes, it does. I think it looks sick. I think it's a beautiful looking extruder, and I'm very happy with my color scheme that I put on it and all that. So this is what it's getting. I forget what fans these are. I can't see the label in there right now. I picked these fans specifically because they're high flow with supposedly good sound characteristics. We will find out in the long run. So that's going on my main 2.4 for part cooling. And then the next 2.4 I'm going to build is going to get my box turtle, and the box turtle is going to get an ant head, which is dual 4010 fans. So it has dual 4010 part cooling fans. I'm going to be running a Revo in that, so I don't expect to be printing as fast, so the part cooling should be okay. This is not for that build. This is actually a mock-up that I did for something else, but it's a very similar design. So this is the ant head from Printer for Ants, aka Heart K. It's going to have the cutter. The cutter goes on the side here. And it's going to get the newer wristwatch G2 with dual filament sensors in it for the box turtle. So, but this is the basic concept of what's going on my other 2.4. Zal is hot right now. Zal doesn't have nearly as good part cooling. So there's also the A4T, as I'm Alex just said. A4T is a solid one that also has 4010 dual 4010 part cooling fans. So A4T is the kind of the evolution of Zal with a little bit better part cooling. So this is for another build. But for my next 2.4, it's getting an ant head. I just think it's a beautiful looking extruder. It's already got a cutter variant. A4T I don't think has a cutter yet. So I think it's in beta. But yeah. Fabrico's sending me some parts for Micron Plus. Any suggestion for what I can and should CNC? A4T just got its cutter. Newest update came out yesterday, I think. Okay, good to know. I'm still going to go with the ant head. I think the ant head's a beautiful looking setup. I really want to run it, but you build such beautiful printers. Thank you, Jonathan. That's kind of part of the point is I'm a content creator. My machines need to look good. And A4T, I think, is a bit chunky. There is a dual sensor WWG2 out there. Yes. Petty Ruxpin, actually, it's in the ant head. So if you go to the ant head print files from Heart K, he has the WWG2 wristwatch G2 Galileo 2 with dual sensor, so one before and after the filament gears. So yeah, dual censored. I have, well, that's actually what is on the Reaper. The one that's on the Reaper, it's just, you can't really see it, but it is a little bit larger. That is the dual sensor version. So I actually deleted one sensor. Mine is only a single sensor because I'm not going to be running a MMU on that. I don't need dual sensor, so I eliminated one of them on mine, but whatever. Okay, now I could put our extruder in here. What could you CNC, Millennium Machine Works? What would anybody CNC on a Micron? I mean, there's a lot to CNC. Could. I would see about doing a carriage, I guess. And they exist. All the CNC parts I would recommend do exist, but I understand why you would want to make your own. I would play around with making a carriage for the Toolhead. And what else? Ugh. Everything. Replace every printed part with CNC components. I already got plans for a lightweight 5015s. Ooh, okay. I'm curious to see that. Wow. I'm blanking. I would try and CNC freaking everything on that build if I was you. All right. Tighten this down. Plenty of blue Loctite in there. A little squeeze out of thermal compounds telling me I got this thermally connected to the carriage nicely. I don't have a motor on this thing right now. I'm going to decide on that. I know I have a Moons stepper motor around here for this. I might try the Moons, or I might swap the LDO motor in. Don't know yet. CNC display could be funny. It absolutely could. Is a VZ harder to build than a Voron 2.4? Benjamin. VZ is not... Is a VZBot harder to build than a Voron 2.4? Yes. 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 How do I put this? The instructions for the VZBot are not great. The instructions for a Voron 2.4 are superior in like every way. So the Voron 2.4 by default is just easier to build because it's very well documented. There are a lot more Voron 2.4s in the world than there are VZBots. And as such, both between the official Voron documentation and the general public who have built them and added mods or additional information or streams and videos that you can watch, there's a lot more around a Voron 2.4 that's going to help you a lot more. So in that respect, the Voron 2.4 is by default easier to build. I think the build process for this has been solid and pretty okay. If I have built a 2.4, would I have a hard time building VZs? I'll probably be looking back at your streams if I have any issues. No. If you have built custom DIY printers before, this isn't insane. The instructions just aren't great. If you have experience building printers, really, this went together pretty smoothly, I think. The hardest part was just the points where I'd be like, well, the instructions say this, but I don't have that screw, or my part is slightly different. So like, there's been a few confusing points to this. For the most part, this build was pretty easy, actually. So no, I think if you have experience building one, then yeah, I think you'd probably be fine. But I would definitely recommend, if you haven't built one before, build a 2.4 first, then come to this, would be my order of operations. Honestly, building my Micron was interesting, going almost entirely off of CAD, limited manual, scary as F at first, but worked out fine. I mean, I've built a couple of machines just purely off CAD. It's totally doable. It's just more intensive. Greg's video series on his VZ-235 is almost essential. He shows so many things so well. Good to hear, Daredoggle. I'll have to look at that and recommend it for folks moving forward, maybe. Okay, so we've got our extruder on here, thermally compound connected to our CNC carriage. Make sure they got these screws tight. I know I did, but I'm going to check again. Now, question is, how long does my Bowden tube need to be? Probably have to cut down the Bowden tube again. I don't want inch. Why are you an inch? All right, 8.6 millimeters deep there. And then where is my Goliath? I hope this Goliath fits. As I'm just looking at this, I'm realizing something. Oh wait, do I even need a Bowden? Does this go direct? It does. Okay, I don't even need a Bowden tube. All right. A lot more smoke if the VZ has an oops due to voltages. That's a fair point. Any plan for bed fans? There's a model on printables that works for a 330 and 230. By default, it has bed fans. Oh, you mean Kittrell, do you mean under bed fans to heat the chamber? I don't think there are any for the CNC yet. I plan to design my own. If there are some for the CNC, I'd love to see them. But the ones I've seen on printables or whatever are for the Kittrell. You're gonna have to drop it on the Discord, but I'm happy to check out the link. The only bed fans I've seen so far for this machine were for the extrusion bed, which this has a CNC bed, not extrusion. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I would like to put bed fans on this, yes. I would like to. Okay, now... Okay, now thermal compound on the plate for the hot end. Yeah, so there's no Bowden in this. This heat break just goes direct to the extruder, so that's cool. I didn't realize that. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little thermal compound on top of this adapter plate so that it can transfer heat up into there a little better. Same on our heat break. I'm not going to go crazy on this, but I am going to put thermal compound on here. I actually don't know if this contacts directly. I would imagine it does, but I honestly don't know. It is for CNC. Okay, cool. That must be newer then. Or I just missed it. Who knows? Okay. Now, where did I go with the screws? I know I dropped the screws for the hot end. Are they here? There's one. Hot end screws. Cool. Looks like a really nice build. I'm having fun with it. Thank you. Having fun with it. It's had its frustrating times, but we're getting there. All right. Little dab of Loctite on that. We put this up in to our extruder. All right. Up in. Guided into the middle. Uh-oh. I was afraid of that. Well, there's a couple things I was afraid of happening here. All right. I got the clocking wrong. I wanted to try and clock this a little bit differently, but our thermistor is colliding with the carriage here. So I need to reclock this whole heater cart, or the whole hot end forward, and I think I need to run the different plate. So Simon sent me, yeah, damn it, I have to fully disassemble this hot end now. So Simon sent me this adapter plate, and I was worried about that. I showed earlier that the adapter plate Simon sent me had that little protrusion out of the top of the adapter plate. This carriage doesn't have clearance for that. I was worried about that. I kind of realized that right before I got to this point. All right, I have to swap that plate. Ah, dang it. Luckily, I ordered the proper one for the current version. So obviously the one that Simon sent me must have been like a prototype or an early variant, where the center bore was probably slightly larger on the carriage. There's no clearance, exactly. So I'm going to swap to the current one that I just got from Mellow. So I was afraid of that, and here we are. All right, I'm probably not gonna like zoom in and all that on this. Just try and do it as quickly as I can. Oh, dang it. I hate that the thermistor captures the silicone boot on this. Can't take the silicone boot off without taking the thermistor out. It's annoying. I get they don't really want one big slit down the entire side of the silicone boot, but it's annoying. Okay. All right. Let's get these swapped quick. Hopefully quick. All right. Stomach's growling. How long have we been streaming? Hour and a half. All right. Not that long. Are you spinning? Standoff spinning. I hate that. So the standoffs are threaded into the adapter plate, and then the hot end threads into those. So I'm having this one, as I'm trying to loosen the screw, the entire standoff is threading out. Anybody who's built a computer knows the pain of that. Hold it with a wrench. Excuse me. Hold it with a wrench, and it worked. Cool. Get out of there. All right. Okay. Now, this can come out. Now I need to get all of my standoffs off this adapter. Jose, welcome in. Jose, welcome in. All right. Get these loosened up here. And I'll swap to the other adapter plates. Hopefully everything else works. Everything seems dimensionally pretty much the same between versions, and it's just this one component that I can tell anyway, or appears that Simon sent me is a little different. Hopefully. I might swap to the other heat break too, just to try and avoid. So I have the current revision heat break, and the fact that the current revision heat break has just a little more chamfer to its entrance, the fact there's no Bowden tube in the middle of this kind of makes me want to switch that. So it's got a smooth entrance from the extruder to the heat break. I'll swap it to while I'm here. Just get everything to the current revision. Everything to the current revision. All right. So thank you, Simon, for sending those parts, but looks like I'm not using them. I needed the extruder, so that I'm going to use. And the air-cooled heat break will go into my other build. So it's not like I'm not going to use some of the parts he sent. Tube when? The tube's going on the rat rig. Tube's going on the rat rig. I had hoped to be making a video about installing the tube on the rat rig right now. It was on my schedule that I was going to be working on that yet this month. And now with the move, I just can't. So, yay. Yeah, it was on my schedule and just can't do it right now. I was going to do like a whole tube install slash rat rig update video, like how, my impressions after the build, blah, blah, blah. So it'll happen, but it's not happening today, that's for sure. All right. Little Loctite on these, get them installed into the proper adapter plate or the updated adapter plate. I think tube would be too big and heavy on this. Or maybe that's just physical impression of tube. Tube is a physically larger hot end. Doesn't necessarily mean it's that much heavier than a Goliath. All right. Tighten these down, get the standoffs good and tight so I don't have them loosen up on me in any other instances. Tight, tight, tight. Cool. All right, now I gotta clock this with a thermistor facing forward, forward-ish. Can't go that way. It's got to go. Thermistor has to face forward, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the thermistor must face forward. That's not what I wanted to do, but it's what I have to do. Little Loctite. Come on, come on. Great. All right. One more. Sorry, I unfortunately have to just do this. Get this done so we can move on. All right, little Loctite on this. Dang it. This last screw in here. Tighten that. I don't love the way that felt. Didn't tighten nicely. Looks like I'm ordering a new Nighthawk SB. Good news, excuse to get the CNC Kitchen Heat Set Tip Kit. They are the best heat insert kit set that I've tried. So, hope you enjoy them. All right, I'm gonna put a little thermal compound, a little fresh thermal compound in the thermistor port. Put the thermistor back in after I put the silicone sock on. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Nothing's easy. Nothing's easy. Okay, now I can put the silicone sock back on. Where did I just put it? Set it down here somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. Something? Hello? I had it. Where'd I put it? Took it off. I haven't moved. Where could I have put it? Where could I have possibly put the silicone sock? I haven't moved. Well, here's one. That's not the one I just took off, I don't think. But, whatever. Might be. Maybe I'm wrong. Might be. Okay. Line this up. Try to bend these wires a little bit to kind of where I want them. I want them to clock them this way. I gotta bend these. Trying to get these wires, because right now the wire is oriented to head this way, and that's right west past this extruder screw. I want it to go this way. So I just kind of gotta bend it by hand, shape it the way that I want, but still keep it properly and thoroughly engaged with the hot end. Just like socks, never a pair. Yeah, my socks never match anymore. I gave up on the concept of ever keeping them organized and properly matching. Life's too short. Okay, silicone boot does not look happy. I guess this wire's just not quite seated how I want it. Okay. Now, where'd I put the thermistor? There it is. Thermistor into its port. Matching socks are for boring people. Yeah. Who's got time for that? Who's got time to keep socks matching? No way. All right. That's tight. Great. Cool. Okay, now we're back where we were 5-10 minutes ago. Now, I can put a little thermal compound on this and get this in here. Now we're back where I was hoping to be a little bit ago. Thermal compound on our heat break. Rub it around a little bit. Great, cool, awesome. Now I can install this up in here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That doesn't feel right. What am I hitting? I don't think my extruder is well aligned with this. That's not great. I think I might have to... Ugh. Doesn't want to slip right up in. I think I need to loosen the extruder, align it, then tighten the extruder. How I'm going to do that, I don't 100% know. I have a thought. Have an idea. Wait a second. I have an idea. I have an idea. Okay, that's loose. So because the adapter plate for the hot end would misalign would block those screws so I can't tighten them, I luckily have that other heat break. So I'm going to use that second heat break that I have, stick it in there to align my extruder. Yep, there we go. Boom. Use that as an alignment tool. And now I'll tighten my screws with that in there, keep everything aligned nicely. And then I will go back and install the hot end. All right, cool. That's better. Great. Now, yeah, use a PCB TFE. PCB TFE would do the job as well. You're right. Boom. That's what I needed. All right. Now I can put my Loctited screw in here. Maybe. Dab a little fresh Loctite on this. Use my hex wrench. These are the times where I wish I had non-ball hex, where like getting a straight shot at a screw is easier without a ball hex. All right, tighten that. I just need to get the other hex screw. Where's the other one? It's here. I dropped it into the machine. There it is. Nope, that's not it. That's my old thermistor. Screw. Where'd you go? Did you fall out of the machine? Maybe? I don't see my screw. All right. I need a like M3x6, I think, for this. You're not button head. Where are my button head screws? M3 button heads? Yes. Ooh, I don't see any M3x6. I'm out. Dang it. Uh-oh. I need an M3x6 screw, and I lost one of them. It looks like. I think M3x8 is just going to be too long. Are you M3x6? Yes. I got one of these little flat-heady doodads that'll maybe do the job. I think it might be too big. We're going to find out in a second. I think the head might be too large. Let me double check I don't have M3x6 here. One or two more. Oh. I might. That looks like, no, those are my 8s. 8s, 10s. 8s, 10s. Big boys. I just don't see M3x6. My fault. I think I had exactly the right amount of M3x6 screws, and I think I dropped. I know I dropped one when I was removing this hot end. It doesn't look like I got it back in here. All right, this'll do. This low profile one's fine, actually. We'll pull the other one out and swap it to a low profile as well. Have a uniform look, at least. I'll get this out of the way and the wires out of the way in a second so we can actually see what's happening here. Sorry. I just realized it's kind of a clogged up view for you folks. All right. wrench to tighten this. Cut this cable tie. Get this out of the way. Boop. This wire out of the way. Cool. All right. Get up in here and tighten this. Tighten the screw. Tighten screw. All right. Cool. Now I've got a Goliath with the water-cooled hot end. I'm going to bend this cable back on itself a bit more to get it kind of where I want it, out of the way. Cool. Let's see if get a different perspective on this with the VZBot. One thing I can say right now, as I noted, we're a lot shorter now. So, sorry, as I zoom in slowly. One thing you will see here is that my my nozzle is now significantly higher than my part cooling ducts because I set those for the air-cooled variant. So what I need to do is I need to make these spacers in here shorter because this is adjustable, this duct. It's on a slider on the back side. So the beacon is mounted to the duct is mounted to a slider that slides up and down on the back here. I need to make these standoffs a fair bit shorter to bring all that up. In fact, I'm going to start preheating the Core 1 right now to get those printed. Maybe we can do that yet on stream too. Yep. Fire up. Design time. Yay! It's really not design, Carrie. This is actually kind of boring one, but we will take a look at what it is. I'll show you how I did that because honestly, it's very, very simple. And it's exactly how at least Simon recommends doing it. So, okay, we've got our Toolhead assembled minus the extruder motor. I'm debating what motor to run on this, whether it's this smaller 17 mil. Is this one of the 17 mil? I think this is one of the 17 mil. Yeah, it's one of the 17 millimeter LDO motors. So I got to decide what I'm going to do there. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this, but I want to go big screen. So my duct is now, looks like probably 15 millimeters high. Yep, I got to take 15 millimeters off of the standoffs. So let me pop one of those standoffs out of there so I can remember how big they are. So I just don't remember. Ah. Come on. Out you come. Great. Now, those standoffs, pop them out, measure them. .23 millimeters. So I need 8 millimeter standoffs. Yeah, they're 23.2 millimeters actually. So I need 8.2 millimeter standoffs. And I'll show you how I'm going to make that because I'm going to design it in CAD. So let's just do that. Open up Prusa Slicer. Get this preheating. Preheat the Core 1 for ASA because I've got loaded up red ASA right now. And I'll show you how I do that. Oh, Prusa Slicer 2.9.2 is out. I did not know that. I'm not going to update right now. but apparently 2.9.2 is already out. Cool. Configuration update, see. Yeah, okay, update, whatever. All right, now let's get this pulled up. Bright, no, not really bright. Bloop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in, not what I want to go to, I'm going to go to my 3D printing. Where's the VZ-Bot stuff? VZ-235. I want Toolhead. Now there are, I'm going to pull all these in because I don't remember which one's what. The naming structure is a little confusing on VZ-Bot stuff. So I'm just pulling all the files in just so I can find the one I actually need. Why are you being so slow to load? Come on. And spinning wheel of death. Okay, cool. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Oh, look, the pieces I need aren't here. Okay, great. Where's the pieces I need? What are you? You're the X switch mount. Great. So where is the VZBot Toolhead stuff? Go to my NAS. All right, I'm gonna find those pieces quick so I can do what I need to do here. Palm XZ, welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can make standoffs real quick, but I really don't want to. Let's see if I can find these quick first. ObsBot, OBS. Okay. Did we lose anything there? Looks like maybe a second. Hope you folks didn't lose me too long there, because it seems like maybe you did. Current per bit. Yeah, I don't know why. OBS. Oh, God. Why? It's a bit jittery. What the fuck? Oh. Stop upload. Why the fuck are you... Why is Fusion open? I've got a bunch of stuff open in the background that I don't know why it's open. So I'm going to close all that. Cancel. And I hear Ruby saying something in the house. I hope to heck I'm not like... Something's not wrong with the network? Fine now. Cool. All right. Okay. Now I'm just trying to find these damn parts. And this is where one of the problems I have... Closed YouTube and reopened to, oh, fuck. Yeah. So, it's because I stepped away for a second. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Okay. There we go. So this is the file I need. Is the fan duct lower spacers, I think. Yep, this. I'm going to download that file. And I'll just open that in Slicer. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to modify this. Let me switch camera angle, or well, switch to the Slicer view. Cool. Okay, we're going to design in CAD. So here is the standoff we need. Now I have two problems with the standoff. One, it needs to be a specific length that I need. That's fine. The way they intend you to work with this, which I might as well just do it right now. The way they intend you to work with this is unlock your constraints. So dimensional constraints. So I can modify just the length. I need it to be 8.2 millimeters long. Boom. Now my spacer is 8.2 millimeters long. That's what I need. But I don't like how thin this thing is. There's like nothing to this thing. Sure, it's going to be lightweight, but like, let's see how thick it is. Well, restart selection. Boop, boop. Come on. It's 0.8 millimeter thick, 2 extrusion widths. I don't love that. So what I'm going to do is add an instance. No. No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a part. No, I guess I'm going to add an instance. So I'm going to break the instances. Set as separate printable object. Cool. Now these are two separate objects. I'm going to align the first one with the second one. 125. So I'm going to go 125 by, oh, no, help if I actually do 125 by 110. Cool. Now they're aligned. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to go 5.8 by 5.8. Cool. Now I'm going to combine the two of these into one object, merge. Now I'm going to measure this and see how thick my wall is. I want it to be like three perimeters thick. I think one is just too little. Yep, I'm like 3 perimeters thick now. Could be a hair thicker, but I'm going to roll with it, I think. Let's go 5.9. 5.9, 5.9. Boop. Cool. Now I have a thicker standoff. So it's got 3 walls to it, not 2. Now I'll take this merged object and I will add an instance. I'm going to add 2. And there we go. I'm doing that because when I'm printing such small objects where they're going to be rapidly going from one to the other, I want to give it a little more time for part cooling. I don't want to increase part cooling because I'm going to be printing an ASA, but I do want to increase layer time. So by printing 3 of these versus just 2, I'm increasing the layer time of all layers so that they all print just a little bit better, hopefully. So, okay. Now I can switch back. Making a standoff with a flat edge, printing horizontal gives it so much more strength. Yeah. Separate them more also. I'm not too worried about that. That is one way to increase layer times, is to just put them further apart. I like to keep, when I'm printing ASA or ABS parts, I like to keep them grouped together on the bed a little more tightly. I like to tightly pack things as far as spacing is concerned when it comes to ABS and ASA, so that heat density stays compact. So the parts are kind of like sharing warmth on the bed and in the area. It won't give too much time. Travel time so much. It is totally a valid way to increase layer time. Space them further apart on the bed so it has to travel further. And then also you don't get the unintended part cooling overlapping from one to the next. I'm not too worried about it on this part. I just got to tweak my filament profile real quick. I don't think I have a filament profile saved here. Let me check. I should have a, because I have Polymaker ASA loaded up right now. I should have a profile for that. I do. Core 1, boom, cool. Slice. A whopping 7-minute part, and send it to the printer. Cool. All right. Great. Cool. All right. That's off to print. That can be dealt with as we move forward. All right. I guess we can put stepper motor. Oh, excuse me. We can put stepper motor coolers on. So I've got water blocks for the stepper motors. That'll be our next thing. Let me back this camera off a little bit. So, water blocks for our stepper motors. We got 4 stepper motors in here. I'm going to water cool all 4 of them. I've got proper Mellow VZ-Bot water blocks here. Now these get them out of the package. So it's a really simplistic water block design. I don't know if you can see that well. It's got the VZ logo in it, on it, flat base on it. I'll put thermal compound on that to go on the bottom side of the motor, and then our tube fittings. So I'll probably face these inward. I think I'll face these inward on the back ones. I think that makes sense. Does it? I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to go this way. Yeah, probably makes sense to go this way. So if they're a little further out, give a little more space. Careful taking the Phillips screw out of the 2804s. They are Phillips. They're Phillips and strip very easily. Okay, good to know. Thank you. So yeah, I think I'm going to go this way. All right, good to know. Thank you. I don't think the internal... Should I take one of these water blocks apart? Probably shouldn't. But I'm really tempted to. I want to see what the inside is. I'm pretty sure it's just an open cavity inside of here. And that's not ideal. That is not the ideal configuration for a water block. It should have some type of channels to increase time in there. But how are you liking the Prusa XL? I feel like it's been getting a lot of hate lately due to its print quality and ringing. Okay, Prusa XL. Mine has print quality and ringing issues. It has ringing issues, not print quality. Overall print quality is excellent, but I definitely have some ringing apparent on my prints. Prints off the Core 1 have less ringing than prints off of the XL. So I can see some of the hate that it gets. Mine is not severe as I've seen some other people have, but I've also seen some people who don't have ringing issues at all. I love the XL. I have not had many problems with the XL. I don't know of any that are like popping out in my head. So for me, mine has been great for the most part. I've got to order it, get around to it. Probably won't happen until next studio. I do want to get one of Prusa's accelerometers and test both the Core 1 and the XL and custom tune accelerometer input shaping tuning. I think this is part of the problem, is that Prusa announced the XL, then the Bamboos came out. Now everybody wants faster and faster machines. They kind of had to do something, so they put input shaping on it and they pushed the speed on it faster and harder, when it's never really what they intended from the start. Because it's what the industry is demanding right now, they kind of had to do it. And input shaping one value at the factory is not ideal. You should be input shape tuning in situation. Like you should be literally I should be input shaper tuning on top of that toolbox because that's where the machine lives. So if the toolbox base has any effect on the accelerometer readings, that should be factored into my input shaping. If they're doing it like on a concrete floor in Czechoslovakia, no, in the Czech Republic, that's not the same thing. So I understand why they're doing it the way they're doing it, and they're by no means the only company to be doing like set input shaper values. Sovol does it. Like a lot of machines ship with set input shaper values. I just wish it had an accelerometer on the tool heads so that it could actually set like in situation. It would be part of the setup calibration. It really should be, in my opinion, but it's not. So I hope to tune mine a little more effectively and see where we land. Let's pull some screws out of these stepper motors so I can get these mounted up. It comes with the longer screws that I need, but I need to locate the longer screws for the other two. Yeah, so I love the XL. Mine has been excellent. And it's definitely one of those problems where I feel like a shill every time I say that I love the XL. Not because I feel that I'm biased toward it. It's because so many people assume that I'm biased toward it, because there are plenty of people who've had problems with their XLs. And I'm not discounting the problems that they have had. I believe the people who've had problems with their XLs have had problems with them. I've seen it with my own eyes, the information that's been shared. Mine's been great. So like I can only form an opinion based off of my experience. And my experience with the XL has been largely great. So what do? You know, my experience has informed my opinion. Other people have had other experiences that have informed their opinions, and negative news travels faster. So all these people out there have seen videos by like Teaching Tech and other people who have had problems with their XLs, but I haven't had. So People are like, well, but the issues that so-and-so had. Yeah, I haven't had the issues that so-and-so had, so I'm sorry. Okay, I need 50 millimeter screws for these. It came with 50 millimeter screws. I can only inform my own opinion based off of my own experience. My own experience has been solid with the XL. So, yeah. I've had, you know, random issues here and there, a thermistor error once in a while. Biggest problem I have with the XL is transferring files to it. The Wi-Fi on Prusa machines is just not as good as it should be. The next studio, I'm hardwiring them. I don't have nearly as much trouble with Wi-Fi as other people have had with them, but I definitely have had Wi-Fi trouble with them. The next studio, I'm hardwiring almost all of my printers, I think, because, like, why not? But that should hopefully eliminate that problem. Don't know. We shall see. The Core 1 is currently heating up to print those parts. So we've got to pull screws out of the steppers, because the way that these mount, the way these cooling blocks mount is, you can see there's only 2 screws in there right now. Lack of included camera is a head scratcher. I don't disagree. Lack of included camera on such an expensive machine in 2025 is silly. I get it on the Core 1. I don't get it on the XL. So I don't disagree with that either. It should have a camera in 2025. Also, the enclosure is too expensive. I like the enclosure. For the most part, I like the enclosure. $600 is just so freaking expensive. Print quality wise, with my XL, they exceed one of my Mark IV. I do have quite a bit of noise in terms of resonance, which I have not been able to pinpoint. I haven't had that problem. I know a lot of people have had the resonance noise issue. I haven't really had that problem either. So I don't know. It's not a quiet machine, but yeah. A good cam. The one on the A1 Mini is trash. I mean, yeah. I wish the enclosure was fully sealed, no gaps, which was an odd to me. I mean, the gaps around the front are kind of annoying. I don't love that the back panel, hex panel behind the toolheads is open on the XL, and the gap underneath of it is open. But I've maintained pretty solid chamber temps printing ASA. I haven't had any trouble printing ASA on the XL yet. I think I get around 34, 35 degrees Celsius in chamber. Could be better, absolutely, and I would like to see higher temps, but it hasn't caused me any problems yet. So I do intend to try and seal up the enclosure better. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Hasn't been a problem for me yet. I do wish it was cheaper. I wish the enclosure was cheaper or included for the price of the XL at this point. Don't know. I understand they're trying to compete with different markets, so like it is what it is. But we have to remove 2 screws from our stepper motor so we can mount this cooler to it. So I'm going to remove Phillips screws from our motors. All right. Oh, that one came out pretty easy, actually. Yay. That one came out easy. Cool. Hopefully this one does as well. Yes, cool. The XL only has another year before index machines replace it. You're probably right. Like, the XL came out at a weird time in the market, and that's just the reality of it. Is, you know, there's just so many other machines that are going to be starting to snip at its heels real quick here. That's reality. But for now, I'm quite happy with the machine. I'm going to keep on using it regularly. Okay, which thermal compound should I use for this? Stepper motors. I honestly don't know how hot stepper motors get on average. I've heard yeah, the HT motors are rated to 180 degrees Celsius, but they're not running that hot on a regular basis. By the way, Alan, your VZ will be able to pass this off as a Prusa? Wow, how's that? With bad connectivity? So this has got to go on here. I'm just wondering which thermal compound I should use. Because thermal grizzly is really only good to about 100 degrees Celsius. I feel like I should probably use the Slice Engineering stuff. Colors? Oh, it's red. It's just that my camera reproduces This is red. This is Galaxy Red, but my camera, yeah, see, this shows it better. Red. This camera, especially the second angle, the color is not as good as the other camera. And it reproduces red and orange funny. So, yeah. I get what you're saying, and I kind of knew exactly where you were going because I know the camera color is a little funky on that one. Just how it reproduces red and orange is weird. I think I'm going to use sliced thermal compound on these so that it holds up a little better, maybe. Fully enclosed printing ASA, motors usually get to 50, 60 Celsius. That seems awfully cool. Average stepper motor temp. I have no idea. This view is definitely red, yeah. For the new studio and the tariffs. Thank you so much, Jobo, for the super chat. Sorry if I'm butchering the way you pronounce that name, but thank you so much for the super chat. Why did it fail to hit target temp? Oh, whoops. I accidentally had the vent on the top open. So it's taking a long time for the chamber to warm up. There's another thing, something about the Core 1. I wish it had like an indicator or something for that top vent. Or it just didn't have that top vent. They're hinting that they're coming. Oh, they actually release fully built index machines. I'm sure somebody will release fully built index machines or using the technology. It'd be silly of them not to, but I have no idea who will first. I'm just going to use sliced thermal compound just to be safe. I'm going to use sliced thermal compound just to be safe. Keyboard, there it is. All right, put a little thermal compound on the bottom of this cooler. All right. It's kind of a smiley face or a derp face. I didn't do that on purpose, but there it is. Hi, everybody. Okay. So, I'm going to put a little Loctite on this stepper screw. Do I have the right size already? Bam, I already got the right size in the LTT screwdriver, I think. I do. Cool. All right. Now, this goes on here. Cool. One. Get the other screw, a little Loctite on it. Beautiful build. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It's my first red build. Like I don't usually build red, but I feel like VZBot I just kind of had to. Even though I've never built a red Voron, and I've always kind of been like anti-red Voron because that's default color. But you know what? I'm doing it on a VZBot. Aren't fast things supposed to be red? Isn't it like red cars get pulled over more often? All right. Tighten these screws a little bit. 3D Medic Vince, welcome in. All right, tighten, cool. All right, got a little squish out there. Clean off a little squish out of our thermal compound. Great, cool. All right. Insurance is usually more for hot red colors. Oh, there you go. Okay, and one more stepper over here. I gotta make sure I get the block right. It's just only 2 screws that hold these blocks on, so I gotta make sure I'm taking out the right screws for the stepper motors. And my stepper motors don't just fall apart. Red adds at least 100 horsepower. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. All right. Need to put flame decals on it so it goes faster. There we go. And a hood scoop. Put a hood scoop on the top panel. Okay, so I need this corner and that corner. Okay. All right. And thought that was RGB. Well, it's going to have RGB too, so all of these things are going to play into getting it faster. Till we put flame stickers on it, and I mean, it's got carbon fiber. Like between the carbon fiber, a hood scoop, RGB, it's going to be the fastest printer it ever was. We're going to be breaking, like, it's going to be instantaneous speedboat benchies. It's just start, finish, done. This machine's going to live its life 1/4 mile at a time. One speedboat benchy at a time. And a big ass wing. There we go. Maybe I'll mount the radiator up here like a spoiler. Is that what I should do? Mount the radiator up at the top like a spoiler. Have you considered using glass-filled ABS for a printer? I've done it before. I've used it before. I don't know that I found any particular benefit to it. Some say it's stiffer and stronger. I don't know. Come on. Why are these screws not coming out? I think they're all the way loosened up. They're just not coming out. Wondering where the fart can exhaust goes on this. Oh, it's in the muffler for the CPAP. It's already in the muffler for the CPAP. It's like a glass pack design muffler inside of there. So there you go. Oh, these screws. That one's out. Kind of. Excuse me. This one doesn't want to come out. It's loosened up. It just doesn't want to come out. Oh, there it goes. Just catching up inside of there. It is my tech fund did a test and had better properties across the board. Okay. But you got to think in sure, it might have better properties, but like how much does that truly matter to what we're doing is the question, you know? Like how much benefit do we truly need on our printers is the question. I mean, I don't know. I'm putting CNC on everything lately, so. All right. Where did I put the screws? There's screws. Also, material testing is just such a complicated frickin' thing. Giving definitive answers, it's like this material is stronger, that material is a big statement in my opinion. All right. That one started. Loctite on the other one. I'm so shaky. So much caffeine in me right now. For gantry, I could see the benefit. Yeah, I can see the concept. I've used it before for Toolhead components. Where I've used it previously was Toolhead components because I feel that Toolhead is the place where rigidity matters most. No such thing as better material, just appropriate materials. Good call, Millennium Machine Works. We also get into the concept of what is the right properties for our printer components. You know, rigidity, sometimes having a little give is not a terrible thing. Especially for misalignment of components and designs that were never really intended for the tight tolerances we're pushing. Some materials are so expensive, it makes me wonder why not go CNC? Yeah, that's a factor. Yeah, I know I've used glass fiber ABS before for toolhead components. So like a hot end mount, I did it before. I find that I feel this is the point where where most rigidity should exist. If you're going to have components that should be rigid, I think it should be here and maybe motor mounts. Your gantry ends, I think, are a place where it's arguable maybe there should be some give. That said, everything I have right now is basically CNC, so, you know, I'm not exactly saying what I preaching what I do, but just there's arguments to all this stuff. I don't know. One person may see benefits where another doesn't. Cost matters more to one than another. There's so many factors that go into this stuff. Anybody made parts out of PPA CF or PET CF? They're very stiff and PET has super low creep. I do not find that to be the least bit accurate. The only parts I've ever had creep on printers were PET. You have to remember too, creep is not just a... I've never tried PET CF, so fair on that I haven't tried it to say. Your problem is going to be temperature. Even like your chamber temp, the G causes the creep. Okay. The glycol or whatever it is that G stands for in PETG. Your chamber temps in an enclosed chamber may only get to like 30, 40 degrees Celsius, maybe 50, maybe 60. Glass transition temperature is not the only temperature issue with materials. Creep will increase with temperature. So while you might not hit a glass transition temperature where things are just going to deform on their own, if you're running 40 degrees Celsius inside of a chamber and you're running PET parts, you could warm those up enough to the point where deformation may occur. I would not run PET parts. I haven't run PET enough to say that, though, definitively. I wouldn't recommend it. PPA CF, I, again, have not run enough. But you're like, now we're into what Aldehyde Design said. Now, when we're talking PPA CF, for the cost of PPA and the need to anneal it to get the primary function of it, you might as well just have CNC parts. With PPA CF, you need high temp to print. You got to be printing, what, 340 degrees Celsius print temperature? So you already have to have a fairly capable machine to print the stuff properly. Then it needs to be post-process annealed. Well, annealing, you run the risk of deforming your parts. Unless you're annealing in like a salt, enclosure or a sand enclosure or something like some people do. You're running the risk of deformation in your parts. You don't want that on your printed components for a printer build. So even if it only goes out of spec 0.1 millimeter, 0.2 millimeter, you're going out of spec. So you're going to be running into potential issues there with fitment issues. Then with the cost of PPA CF and all the work that goes into doing that, you're starting to get to a point where does it just make sense to get aluminum components if that's what you're chasing, You're not going to worry about creep with aluminum, obviously. You're not going to have to worry about out of spec parts, hopefully, if they're made properly. So not really a good answer there. Our little spacers are done. Okay, so we've got 2 of our stepper coolers on. I have 2 more of them here. PET softening temp is like 200C. Well, no, that's like softening temp for printing. That's not glass transition temp. Yeah, glass transition temperature of PETCF is like 75 degrees Celsius. GF ABS is a good middle ground. It's like $48 a kilo. Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable point. I did PPS CF non-annealed parts for my VZ CNC gantry. Doubt it'll see any difference, but it looks cool. Hey, there you go. Can't argue with that. I need my other water blocks. So I have 2 more of these water blocks I've had for quite some time. They're going to go on the front here. Going to be our front ones. I think I might... Ooh, that loosened up. My fitting just loosened as I tried to swivel it. That's not what you want. Nomad, welcome in. God, this one keeps loosening up when I try to tighten it. That's not cool. Milled cast iron parts. There we go. End frame. There's the build we need to do. Let's build a fully cast iron machine. Talk about resonance. We will defeat resonance with pure mass. As my voice breaks up saying mass. Evening, greetings from sunny Sweden. Welcome in, Voj TV. Sorry, you've been here, haven't you? Oh, well, whatever. Welcome. Hi. All right. Let's tighten these fittings up a little bit. One of them seemed loose. Returned my Soval 0. Bust my ass on a new studio and return the 0. All right. I don't blame you. Seemed like you're having trouble with it. That's not pure mass. That's just pure spite. There you go. Cast iron hotbed is still a genius idea. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to fly. You definitely want to build a flying gantry machine at that point, but or have like what's the next size up from NEMA 23s? We're gonna want bigger, that's for sure. Okay. NEMA 42. There we go. Which screws do I need to remove for these blocks? These front blocks, I need to remove this corner and this corner. 42, it's the answer. There we go. We have found the answer. We're going to build a fully cast iron machine with no belt, all ball screw. Yeah, we'll do the next Pantheon Cast Edition. The fully cast iron Pantheon build. I'm glad to see the new Pantheon. Did anybody watch the new Pantheon HS Pro video that Joel put out? I definitely did. And I'm happy to see that they went to have chamber heaters now. They didn't have chamber heaters on the previous supposedly HS2 or HS3. They do have chamber heating now. So happy to see that. They have chamber heating, chamber circulation fans. Basically just looks like a all-around beefier, which they already had a beefy machine, but even beefier build with some quality of life improvements. I want an HS Pro, but why does it cost as much as a used Civic? Canadian manufacturing and a lot of CNC components. I mean, like, thick CNC components. That's just a lot of work. That's all there is to it. All right. This one's going in this corner. You laugh, but we could probably do something with epoxy granite and CNC parts. Oh, I'm not entirely, like, joking. You might think I am, but I'm not entirely joking. That does seem like an amazing video. We built a cast iron 3D printer or something, you know? Like, get with a foundry, cast components, machine the finish tolerance stuff. You'll have to have a tow truck just to move the cast iron frame around. You're not wrong. We're talking like power hammer territory of machine tools, like full Bridgeport territory. All right, tight. Buy an old Haas and convert it. I mean, that's not the worst idea ever. Use an old CNC. Mount a pellet extruder inside of there or something. My Haas runs Clipper. Pretty sure we'd have to run Duet for like the intricacies of that or something. I don't know, but I'm not saying that's a bad idea by any stretch. But that's definitely if I'm worried about paying for the studio, I definitely worry about paying for that project. All right, one more on there. Now I just got to do this one, and we'll have all our water blocks on for now. Greetings from Norway. How you holding up? Haven't been able to keep updated with the move situation. Heard you got a new place to stay, but still looking for studio. Yes, you pretty much got it. So thank you for checking in. But yes, we have a new home lined up. We do not have a new studio lined up. So that's pretty much where we stand. Is the home situation is handled, but no studio yet. Looking for sponsors for the studio, but thank you so much to everybody who has helped out, supported. It's all appreciated. But yeah. I was banking on Repetier. I can never pronounce that. Yeah, let's run Marlin. Let's just run Marlin. Or Sailfin. How about Sailfin? There's a Sailfish. What was that one? We'll write, screw it. We'll write our own firmware. Positron is a proud sponsor. You are. It is appreciated. We need the big sponsorship is the next hurdle. Okay. Now this one would definitely be a Positron name up on the founding members' top of the board for being a Spacepoint Alliance member. So thank you to the Positron team for that. But yeah. All right, now, where did I just put the screws for this? Here, there. Nope. Can't see the motor I'm working on. All right. I need to put Marlin on something. I should build like a Voron that I put Marlin on or something. I don't run Marlin on any of my machines anymore, and I kind of feel bad about that. The Marlin project is one of the only things that I support on Patreon at this moment. And yeah, I mean, Marlin got us where we are in a lot of ways, but it just doesn't fit my current needs for most machines, or wants, realistically, not necessarily needs. All right. Tighten. Tighten. And I think we will be water blocked. All right, wipe off the thermal compound that oozed out. Hit my watch. Always beat the hell out of my watch. All right. We are water blocked. So we've got blocks on all 4 stepper motors now. So I just need the blocks for the... Still need the blocks for the stepper drivers, which obviously is not happening today. I'm going to order those after stream from AliExpress. And then a radiator, a pump, and reservoir. Yeah, recompiling firmware for every change is super frustrating. And with the way I run printers, like I need to be able to change things rapidly and frequently. So I don't disagree with you. Like in 2025, it just doesn't work for me. That said, there's no reason I couldn't build a machine, run it on Clipper, tune it in, get all the variables figured out, and then compile a Marlin firmware once everything's tuned in, dialed in. It's doable. With largely minimal fuss. So, I don't know. Maybe someday. Be fun to build like a Voron Trident or something running Marlin just for the heck of it. A Marlin V0. Okay, now we can... Is EK Waterblock still in business? They make some nice water cooling gear. They're still in business. Their reputation is very tarnished right now, but they are still in business. So, yeah. I will probably be running Alpha Cool components on this and a couple other projects that I'm planning to water cool. Because, not necessarily because Alpha Cool makes the best stuff, but like they make great stuff. It's kind of ugly in a lot of respects, in my opinion. Like there are plenty of companies that focus way more on aesthetics, whereas Alpha Cool focuses on just like making good stuff. The biggest reason is because Alpha Cool puts out step files for like everything. Alpha Cool has step files for almost everything out there. They also have aluminum components. Aldehyde designs, you don't want to be mixing aluminum and copper. These are all aluminum components. That is a very valid point. Everything in this loop right now is aluminum. So we do want an aluminum radiator and a pump with that in mind. Alpha Cool provides step files for like everything they make. They're not always the easiest to find on their website. That's kind of annoying, but they do have step files. So I will be able to easily design mounts really with the parts that they are selling. So that's a big deal. All right, I'm loosening up the screws for the hot end because we have our new spacers to put in here now. So many scripts, plugins, config modules that would never be able to figure out to work with Marlin. Totally true. Opaque red liquid. It's definitely going to get red liquid. I don't know about opaque. I think translucent red is probably what we will run in this. I think translucent red, but undecided at the moment. Or should we run like a UV or something? So whatever RGB we put in here, like maybe has a fun effect with it. I don't know. Some thoughts there. Okay. Which camera angle should I go to? Tail air? Yeah, probably tail air. UV red. Let's see. There's got to be a UV red, right? Or okay, so now the duct is loose. So as you can see, it just flip-flop around in here. Just do whatever you need with it. I need M3 by, I think, 12 is probably going to be the right size for this. I'm out of M3 by 12s. Let's see if M3 by 8s are going to work. I don't think they will. No, they are not going to be long enough. I need 12s. Oh, wait, I do have some 12s. They're just mixed in here. my button heads got all dumped at some point. My button heads got dumped at some point. So, okay. So, this duct. Let's move the camera a little bit. Wrong way. There we go. Okay, so this duct. Screw up through here. Spacer. Oh, there's a fun one. Did anybody watch John Proper Printing and Simon? Ivan's videos on the belt printer. They built with a freaking error. Dang it. The word is escaping me. Treadmill. That they built with a treadmill. Come on. I need to get a screw in here so I can get this other one started. Looks like M3 by 14 might be the right size for this, not 12. But our spacer looks solid. I can just see the nozzle past the ducts. I'm excited to see them sink in a lake. Yeah. I too am excited to see them flounder. I too am looking forward to that. What size are these? 14s. I got a couple of black 14s. I think I'm going to use those. I think 14 is going to be the right size here. Let me try it. I will try it. I got to stick this other spacer here into here. Ah! This is one of those like super fun sticking spacers into a freaking opening things that you can barely reach into. Captive between two surfaces. And I'm really shaky today. It's like extra shaky day. Good thing I only have to go over to Blackthorn and paint for the rest of today. All right. Now, screw up in here. Push that into where it needs to be. Over to your home. Sorry that like the hot end's blocking visibility, I'm pretty sure, of everything here. Nope. M3 by 14 is too long, so M3 by 12 it is. 3 by 12 it is. 14 gets dangerously close to the gantry, to the carbon fiber gantry sticking up through there, so. No cutting in when painting. Yeah. I'm gonna have to be, I think I will have cutting in to do today, but luckily, like, if my hands can be rested against a surface, like, if I can rest, because like I'm a very shaky person on average. Like my hand is shaking right now. But I used to weld a lot, so what I would always do is just like when I weld, I rest my hand on something. So if like I'm holding a torch with this hand, I rest my hand on something, anything to help me, even if it's like my other hand or whatever. I don't know. Steady rests are very important to me. Always have been. Okay. Little Loctite on that screw. Put a link to the liquid cooling, to cooling fluid and 3D design discussion. Cool. Thank you, Anzi. Thank you. I'll check it out. Yeah. Undecided yet what we're doing, but I have to design radiator mounting for whatever radiator I end up picking. I think I'll probably look at like an Alpha Cool combo radiator. It's got a pump reservoir combo with the radiator. I know they have those for like server applications. I'll probably look at something like that. All right, we've got our spacers. You can just barely see in there. Our red spacers inside of there, spacing this. So we gained 15 millimeters. I just gained 15 millimeters of Z-axis build volume by switching from air to water cooled. I'm not upset about that. Not in the least bit upset about that. Tightening the screws for the sliding mechanism for the duct on the back here. And there we go. Beacon now should be at the right height. Our ducts for cooling should be at the right height. And we've got, with that, we've got water blocks on all 4 motors. Water block, water cooled extruder, the VZ Hextrudort Plus. So the VZ Hextrudort Plus with water cooling. And our Goliath converted for water cooling. So that's really all we're going to get done on this stream. I don't have water blocks for the stepper drivers yet, or a radiator or any of that, but we are heading in the direction of water cooled. Yeah, that's basically it for now. For right now, we've headed in the right direction. So I need to get those water blocks ordered, or that water block for the stepper drivers. I'm going to look at that right now, get that added to my cart right now. Supposedly it goes on sale in 12 hours for $5 less, it looks like. Do I wait 12 hours? I'm going to add it to my cart and see if maybe I'll wait. I don't know. I want to get it coming sooner rather than later. I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget. Are you going to go rigid or soft tubing? Undecided. I mean, obviously, hot end cooling is going to be soft tubing, but I might play around with bending up at least some hard lines for hard line tubing here. Undecided, but I might play with it. I'm tempted to bend hard lines to go from motor to motor, and then maybe like a bulkhead into the... I'm tempted to do the motors since they don't really... Well, wait, no. The motors have to give because the belt adjustment is through the motors. So realistically, I'll almost certainly run soft. Yeah, I'll probably run soft. Maybe I'll design some nice spacer clamps to have it look good and uniform like I would hardline tubing. But yeah, I need to be able to move, and serviceability wise, like my main water-cooled computer for work, my main water-cooled workstation, people give me crap all the time because it's got soft tubing in it. I don't run hard rigid tubing in my main computer build because it's a workstation. I run soft tubing because I need to be able to quickly remove and reinstall components. And like, if my GPU needs to be reseated, I don't want to have to drain my entire loop. If my CPU needs to be swapped or changed or whatever, so I can get back to work, I don't want to have to drain my entire loop. So it's like, if you can find an aluminum radiator pump combo, please make a short on it. Aldehyde, you're right, that might be a problem. I will let you know if I'll do something to announce when I find it. So soft black tubing is pro level. Yeah, for my main rig, soft black tubing would be good. For this, it's going to be clear just because looks matter. And I don't know about getting black tubing. The black tubing usually has a little thicker wall, which is great, but I'm kind of stuck with the size fittings I have for this application. So I don't know about that here. But for some reason, I thought the monolith mod or tensioning on VZ was like monolith mod. I don't know how monolith does it. I haven't built a monolith yet, but it's these on the VZBot. It's these two front motors. There's a screw in the front up here, or yeah. So there's these two front motors. They're on a slide, and you just slide those to tension the belts. So that is the way belt tensioning works on the VZBot. But I do believe Ludico, hello, you came in at the perfect time. We're leaving. Well, welcome in, but we are going to be jetting here in a moment. They have the idler for the back motor move. Interesting. Interesting. I haven't looked at Monolith in a minute. Monolith's been doing like a bunch of stuff lately. So I really should look at building something with a Monolith gantry, but I don't know. Aldehyde. I wonder if anybody has made a mod for the VZBot to use bearing supports on the motors. Actually, it's already a thing. It's not even a mod. The next revision, current revision doesn't have that, but the next revision of the VZBot does have motor support bearings. Simon actually showed them off in a recent video. He did a video on his channel quite recently, and he said that it will become the standard, where there will be bearing support shaft supports for the motors moving forward. Simon recommends clamp down the frame. Yeah, mount it rigidly. Once we find a home for it in the next studio, I'm sure that'll happen. Yeah, once we get to the studio, figure out the next studio, I'm sure we will figure out mounting this rigidly and really pushing it harder. But yeah. Cool, cool, okay. All right, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up for today. Unfortunately, none of the kids are here to have an outro. Everybody's in the house today, so I don't really have any of the animals to say bye, hang out with, or whatever. But thank you everybody for joining in. Thanks for all the super chats during stream. Anybody who joined up as a channel member, it's appreciated. Wall mounted so the entire studio shakes when you run IS. Well, hopefully the studio is big enough that that's not a problem. I'm expecting concrete walls, so we shall see, but could be. So, all right, folks, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We got some water cooling done. We got the thermistor in here now. So, unfortunately, I don't know how many more streams I'm going to get before we get to the new studio, wherever that ends up being. We might be taking, I think after this stream, this week, the next step in here is we're starting to pack my studio up. So, with that, I'm not 100% that we're going to I'm not 100% that we're going to have many streams between here and there. Maybe we will do some streams. Probably we'll do some streams from my office. We'll figure out something to do. Maybe we'll do a design stream or two to keep things rolling from here. Pack stream. You know what? Honestly, we could do a pack stream. Like we did a painting stream not that long ago. Why not? So yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'm going to try and keep streaming as much as I can. But we watched paint dry with you. Yeah. So I'm going to try and keep streaming as much as I can. I can't guarantee we're going to have the normal stream schedule from here until we get into a new studio. I don't know. I'm going to try my best. We're going to be setting up a stream setup in the new office for sure. At the very least, I have that. So there's that. We're going to see what we can make happen from here till we get into a new space. So I appreciate all of you so very much. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for supporting through the turmoil that is here and is to come. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me while we work on the VZBot, and we'll see what the next one brings. I will try and announce it a little more. So we're back to the Doron Velta. Honestly, we probably should get back to the Doron Velta anyway. So maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It's all the parts are still in my office. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get back to the design, finish the designs on that so we can actually get that machine built. So, all right, folks, thank you for hanging out. Thanks for coming around, and I will see you all in the next one. Let's just have a close-up of the Goliath for the outro. Thanks for coming around, folks. See ya.